Rotational grazing is the technique of switching grazing animals between pastures, often known as paddocks, on a regular basis or as needed. The broad definition of rotational grazing encompasses a variety of strategies and grazing kinds. In this video, we will elaborate on the benefits of rotational grazing and how modern agriculture depends on it. Let's dive right in. What is rotational grazing? Rotational grazing is the process of confining and moving animals around the pasture to enhance the health of the land, plants, and animals. One area of the pasture is only grazed at a time while the other area rests. To do this, pastures are divided into smaller spaces known as paddocks, and cattle are transferred from one paddock to the next. Forage plants can recover and develop deeper roots by resting in grazed paddocks. Benefits of rotational grazing. Did you know that an adequately run grazing program may boost fodder output by 30% to 70% annually? This typically occurs when pasture plants are well grazed. Every few days of chewing on grass cause it to lose energy and root mass. The animals quickly return and begin munching again while already in the sad state of constant grazing. On the other hand, a plant can produce 30% to 70% more forage when it has enough time to rest and regain its vigor and root mass. For this reason, farmers are urged to keep post-grazing residuals at or below 1,500 kilograms of dry matter per hectare. Additionally, animals graze only their favorite grasses, such as clovers and alfalfa. As a result, these particular delectable plants are repeatedly overgrazed, and as time passes, the pasture's edible plant species tend to disappear as the other plants take control. Over time, this will alter the composition of your pasture. It's not what you want. A pasture with both tasty and less than tasty feed guarantees that all plants are equally grazed and that all species remain intact, increasing the plant diversity quotient. Fertility of the soil. As we just discussed, overgrazed plants have smaller root masses. Less soil organic matter results from this decreased root mass. The soil becomes more organically rich when plants are given time to recover between grazing sessions. When grazing continuously, cows typically poop in a favorite location near mineral feeders or waterers. When you use rotational grazing, you can be confident that manure will be dispersed widely around the pasture. Mimicking the natural world. Consider the Wild West, when numerous coexisting species, including the recognizable American buffalo, were present. The buffalo constantly moves when its feeding habits are observed in an open area. They travel a reasonable distance daily while being in continual motion as a herd. As they pass through, there is a brief traffic period in one location. Nearly all healthy plants have their nutritious tops nibbled off and eaten. In contrast, the weeds and undesirable plants are trodden underfoot. At the same time, considerable fertilization is taking place via manure and urine. The good plants are evenly fertilized since they are not concentrated in one place but are dispersed evenly throughout the region. This activity is the epitome of the famous Allen Savory quote, "If animals, bunched or scattered, are left in any one place too long, or if returned too soon, they will overgraze plants and compact and pulverize soils." For a brief period, the passing of this herd is accompanied by heavy hoof traffic. This is advantageous because it involves aeration, which improves soil moisture absorption and retention without causing excessive compaction that prevents healthy plant roots from penetrating the soil. Drought resistance. When the amount of forage grows and the soil becomes richer in organic matter, it's a winning combination that works well to stave off drought. When it rains heavily, the forage cover will slow the water flow, and the earth will soak up much more water. As a result, pastures remain drought-resistant whenever they occur. Before the beginning of the rainy season, a farmer or livestock management might also restrict the amount of feed consumed by the animals during a drought. You may put off buying hay and save money when the paddock size is chosen so that cattle and other animals get the proper amount of forage to consume. Better interactions with your animals. When you routinely move them to nearer paddocks, you'll find it easier to control them. Animals are intelligent and associate good food with their farmers, managers, and shepherds. To get them to follow you, all you need to do is open the gate and shout. The stress caused by being prodded or forced to graze, on the other hand, causes them to consume less fodder and lose weight when grazing continuously. Cattle get more at ease with their owners when they are moved to new paddocks and are in daily or weekly contact with them. Additionally, it's simple to identify weaker/slower animals when you call your animals to your paddocks and persuade them to hurry past the fence. The weaker lambs, who are typically the last to arrive in the paddocks and are either anemic or worm-infested are identified by the shepherds using this as a form of a running race. Naturally, the bottom line is only concerned with profits. The primary objective will enable us to maintain a farm and prepare our pastures for profit. Reduce the number of undesirable plants. Controlled grazing offers numerous options for doing this. Cheatgrass, which has a brief window of good grazing followed by several months of being dry and unpleasant with sharply pointed seeds, is present in a few spots in our pastures. We can frequently place the sheep in the early spring cheatgrass regions and let them graze there vigorously. The quantity of cheatgrass has reduced over time. Your sheep or cattle may be strongly encouraged to consume the less appetizing vegetation when required by your ability to manage field size. Limiting the amount of dry or early gestation ewes that are fed to extend the grazing season. Dry ewes will consume far more grass than is necessary to keep their weight in check or to get back in reproductive shape. Giving your flock of ewes a vast pasture is equivalent to giving a child with no self-control a big bag of candy and telling them they can have 1 or 2 pieces daily. They will only listen to you if you tell your sheep that this grass must last them 2 weeks. Even at seasons of the year when they don't require as much nutrition, they consume it all in a matter of days. By managing paddock size, you may either buy less hay or reserve more forage for the weaned lambs who are developing into the market size and require significantly more nourishment. Examining animals. The shepherd can evaluate the health of the sheep by moving them to a new pasture each day or even once every week. When everyone rushes by the gate where the shepherd is standing, the animals behind are apparent. Here in the southeast, during parasite season, lambs that move slowly are more likely to be anemic and infested with worms. The same capacity to gauge an animal's health as it moves can be attained if a shepherd calls the lambs or ewes in from the pasture each day and feeds them some grain. Enabling the flowering of specific plant species. A few weeks are often required for some annual plants to establish a seed head before the seeds can disperse in the absence of grazing animals. Annual ryegrass and hairy vetch are 2 examples. These plants never have a chance to set seed because of the frequent grazing. Both the annual ryegrass seed heads and the grass blades are consumed by our sheep. Sheep can go to seed if removed from ryegrass pastures in late spring or early summer. In short, rotational grazing decreases the need for additional acreage to produce the same or higher earnings while increasing the production of feed, one of your assets. In the end, you can generate more significant revenues with fewer inputs. That's a formula we can all get behind. Make sure to let us know your thoughts down below. Subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.